What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on The Flash Season 5 Episode 2 called Blocks. And it was a pretty awesome episode, quite average overall, but there's a lot of major plot points that will carry out throughout the whole season. Seeing as I'm back to doing Flash videos again, please like the video, it help it grow, help it get more traffic. You know you want to help your boy Warstu. So did you like the episode, guys? Comment down below. That end tag stinger was pretty epic, and I think Nora's big mistake was coming back in time. I mean, I know last week they said that her big mistake, there was no big mistake, but I think the ramifications of her coming back mean Cicada, whichever way you say it. I say it Cicada or Cicada, which one do I say? I think the ramifications of her coming back has brought this villain to premise in this timeline much sooner than originally expected. So we found out quite a lot about the villain, quite a lot. So at the end of last week's episode, Gridlock was on his way to Iron Heights and he never got there because he had a fight with Cicada and he got absolutely pummeled, which is pretty cool. It's very deep and interesting character this year because we actually get to see that he appears to have a normal day job. So I presume we're going to see him walking around in everyday life, because there's one scene with, I guess, what could be deemed as one of his co-workers, when he said, "You had another fight again." He's like, "Oh, I don't want to see the other person," implying that with his workers or wherever he works, he's known for getting into fights. But this is really him killing off the metahumans. So it's going to be very interesting. So Nora Allen comes clean to the rest of Team Flash that she was the person that was causing the negative tachyons. And Cisco kind of like, "Well, I was trying everything, blah, 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 blah." And it turns out she did it because she wanted to stay in the current timeline, which is pretty interesting. So a minor subplot of this episode was Cecile, who obviously has had metahumans' abilities to read people's mind. Throughout the whole pregnancy, everyone expected her ability to disappear after the first episode. Well, actually before that, when she had the baby girl called Jenna. I mean, I can't actually remember, that's just offhand, so I think the baby's called Jenna. So essentially Cecile is having to become a real parent. What do I mean by this? Well, most parents can't like listen to what their child is saying and get in their head and read their thoughts. So she's having to become a parent without the ability to have a psychic connection to her child, which is going to be interesting. And throughout the episode, because Barry has to go to Joe for some advice, she's realizing that it is the better way to raise your kid, not knowing what's in their head. But it would be a much better way if you could read everyone's mind, I guess, but it would become very annoying at some point. So throughout the whole episode, Ralph and Cisco are pushing Caitlin to find out more about the father, because obviously we got the stinger last episode with the fake death certificate. So this is just going to build up to finding out that her father's icicle potentially and all that kind of stuff. So Nora Allen is so funny, she literally saves the show. So what happens she does this week is she becomes a CSI, she becomes Barry's intern, and she becomes really clingy and gets annoying. But what is quite cool about this is Iris West is actually becoming a reporter again. She is secretly working alongside Captain Singh to work out who killed Gridlock, and later on throughout the episode she finds out that it's the same person that Barry has a fight with later on, being Cicada, which is pretty cool because she's becoming a reporter. Though she did still step in on the computer, she's becoming a reporter. So essentially Nora Allen is useless at being a speedster, or is she? Or is she Reverse Flash? I mean, you got to question that seriously with some of the stuff that's happening. You've really got to question that. So Barry Allen is teaching her, but first he tries to teach her physics, but what she says is physics from her timeline. They learn advanced physics when they're based in high school or grade school or primary school or elementary school. So she wants physical training because she's had no one to train her. But the question that no other YouTuber or no other person online is asking is, where the hell is Wally West, Kid Flash, in the future? Couldn't have he taught her? Because they are related after all. So that is a very strange thing. Comment down below. Bit interesting. It's a bit like on Arrow. Spoiler warning. Where is Green Arrow in the future, and why is William going to Roy Harper rather than to Green Arrow? Is Green Arrow dead in the future? Very interesting storylines that both could have parallels was this season. So Cisco is still mourning the death, well, not the death. Cisco is still mourning the breakup from Gypsy, because you've got to understand there's not been a 7-month, 6-month time jump in this episode from obviously season 4 to season 5. It literally picked up straight away, so it's still quite fresh. So throughout the episode, he seems to get over it pretty fast after reading Ralph's 27 ways to get rid of the kind of the pain, the feelings. And the main one, number 27, if I remember correctly, was she's not the love of your life because she's not in your life right now. She doesn't want to be. Quite cool advice. So the villain of the week, this episode, I've tried to do some research. I can't really find anything. Not sure if she's a comic book villain, but I presume she's called Blocked because the episode called Blocked. And essentially she can stop speedsters or people breaking out of the particle thing that she puts around them, and they can't phase out of them, which is kind of interesting. So essentially it was a massive setup. You could see this because there was some arms dealer and she was trying to sell a weapon, and Kid Flash, obviously Kid Flash being Nora in this situation, or is she Bart Allen, I'm not really sure, and Barry were trying to stop it. So essentially Barry messed up, and then Nora Allen discovered that if she kept moving, this character would get tired, and then Nora Allen put the metahuman gloves, or I guess you could say handcuffs, on her, and essentially they chucked her back to Iron Heights. But what's interesting is the Cicada stuff right at the end of the episode. So I think they have changed the origin story quite a lot. So Cicada essentially can temporarily take your powers off you. So that's why we see Ralph, Barry and Cisco trying to fight Cicada without any powers. Now Cicada, he's not massive, but I guess if you went to the gym, he's probably like an average sized guy. But if he didn't work out, then he would look huge. So I can see why some people could say he's big, but to me he just looks like an average guy. But compared to Barry, he's a beast. So he kicks his shit into all of them, and obviously none of them have any powers. Obviously Cisco stabs his hand, and that gets his attention, and there's a bit of a for Marvel Avengers reference where he refers to the lightning bolt dagger as Thor's hammer because you can control it and call it back. So it's good. They do love their Marvel references in the DC TV universe, I guess you could say. So what happens is, this is very interesting. I can't figure it out, so I need your help, guys. Comment down below. So Cicada is just about to take Barry's power and kill him. Now I know this is not going to happen because you're not going to kill the main star from episode 2. But then Nora comes back and shouts "Dad," and then she says no and kind of like shakes her head, or looks like she's about to shake her head. So obviously we do know from the Comic-Con trailer that he had a family and the family was killed, hence why he wants to kill all metahumans rather than if they're good or bad. So the backstory, the motivation is true, is good. But I'm thinking, is Cicada actually here because of what Nora Allen's done by coming back in time? Because I'm thinking she knows about him. They clearly looked at each other like they know each other. I'm thinking, is this a Reverse Flash? No, it's not the Reverse Flash. But then again, like, she knows about him. So I'm thinking that Cicada was not supposed to be Barry Allen's villain yet, because we found out from the Flash Museum that it doesn't tell you everything. Because when Barry says he went to prison, she was like, "You went to prison?" It's like, yeah, I went to prison. Because obviously it's not going to list everything about Barry Allen. It's going to list everything about the Flash. So she doesn't know everything. It's just a little bit fishy. And then we get the end stinger, which I'll talk about in a minute. So then finally, Caitlin Snow let vibe with the death certificate. And we see Caitlin Snow's mother and what could be Killer Frost's father. Because as we know, she got her powers when she was younger. So this is obviously building up to a story arc when we find out that Caitlin's father is really the male version of Elsa. No, not really. Probably Icicle or something like that. We're going to meet him. We know there's been casting calls, there's been rumours, there's been all that kind of stuff. So we know we're going to find Caitlin's father and most likely Caitlin's brother as well throughout this season. So is there a connection to Cicada? Maybe. But like I said, this episode was pretty good. There was a few major plot points. As we know, next week's episode is called The Death of Vibe. Vibe's going to die. No, I don't think he is. So right at the end, Iris West compares the video clip that she had of whoever killing Gridlock and the kind of sound that Cicada made to be the same person. And then Nora Allen's like, it sounds like a cicada. And Barry's like, a cicada. And Barry looks pissed. I really like his annoyed face. He's like the angry parent. And then Iris West is like the disappointed parent. But it's pretty funny. So she's obviously going to explain who Cicada is next episode. But we already know who he is from the comics. But they've literally said that the backstory is going to be completely different to the comics. So obviously in the comics, he kills Metas and it makes him like live forever, so to speak. But I don't think he's going to go around killing absolutely everyone, because we are 2 episodes in and he's only killed 1 person or 2 people. He's not killed many people because we don't know how long this has been going on for. We don't know when he started. We can just like perceive or presume, but you should never presume too much. We can only presume that he started doing it the night of either the particle accelerator, but I don't think it will be that, or the satellite explosion. So guys, is Nora Allen working with Cicada in the future? Is Nora Allen Reverse Flash? Is Cicada from the future? I'm presuming he is, because she looked shocked. When she first seen him, they had a cheeky link and said no. I don't think it's the family thing, but they are going to pull on the family strings, and that's the main reason why Cicada wants to kill every metahuman, good or bad. Because did you realise how all like the prison officers weren't killed, they were just beat up bad. He doesn't want to kill human beings, he wants to kill all metas because all metas are equal. So you could compare him to like DeVoe, but not really, because this guy actually is a threat. He can fight, he's pretty badass, and overall I still don't believe he's going to be the overall villain, because let's face it, I don't think he will be. They can't drag us out throughout 20 episodes, or is it 21? I know they dropped... Is it 22? It's somewhere around that. I know they dropped an episode or 2. So I don't think this villain can carry out throughout the whole season. But I really hope that Nora has some connection to Cicada in the future. And I'm presuming he's supposed to be a future villain and not a current villain. So it was overall a pretty good episode. Major stingers, major setups for Cicada, for Killer Frost, for Vibe. As we know, it's the death of Vibe next episode. If you haven't watched the trailer yet, Vibe gets stabbed. I don't think they're going to be killing Vibe off. I think it just means that he's going to be losing his powers, maybe. Anyway guys, please like, subscribe and comment, as it does help the channel grow. And I will catch you in that next Flash review or Flash trailer breakdown in another day or so. Anyway guys, I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.